What's powering your investments? What's powering what you're doing with your money these days? We're going to talk about GICs, among other things. Bill Ritchie is in this morning, the president of GICdirect.com. Good morning.
Morning, Bruce.
How's biz?
Biz is very good right now.
I asked you something a second ago. When people come in to see you, are people asking the right questions? Like, how informed are we?
Well, I think a lot of people aren't informed as to how to get the best rate on their GICs, and that's typically where we come in.
Okay.
Right now, a lot of people will shop around their local market, their local bank, that type of thing.
But a lot of people won't.
And a lot of people won't, partly because it's time-consuming.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to get a huge bump on their rate.
Yeah.
They've got to phone a lot of institutions.
How intimidated are people by that process of doing it? About sort of going, gee, maybe I should look there. Ooh, I don't want to make the bank angry. They might give me a hard time on my mortgage or something. You know, is that stuff valid or not?
To some degree, it probably is. I think some people feel comfortable if they've maybe dealt with the bank for many years and have a lot of money on deposit. But for the average person who is looking for the best rate, it's probably a pretty intimidating process.
Okay, let's start right at the basics here. GICs,
Yes.
what they are, what we expect of them, what they do. Let's
Sure.
talk about that.
GIC is a guaranteed investment certificate that guarantees your principal, guarantees your rate of return for a specific number of years, usually 1 to 5.
Okay.
You can go shorter, and that's less than a year. They're called term deposits, but basically that's an interchangeable term.
Okay. Now the risk part of it is what I want to talk about here, because the G part of it is very important.
Very important, yes. We're a conservative people by nature, and a lot of people like to know that their principal's guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And they also like to know what kind of rate of return they're getting over that period of time.
Okay.
And those are both the guaranteed components of a GIC.
Now, we're all doing backflips over the fact that mortgage rates are so low right now,
Yes.
but at the same time, if you're paying low interest rates, you're also making low
That's right.
interest rates. So
That's
talk
right.
to me about that for a
Sure.
second.
If you're going to buy a GIC, you want the best term. It's imperative that you get, the best rate on your GIC. And as we talked about just previously, you can shop around, but probably the best way to get it is to use a deposit broker or a deposit agent. Mm-hmm. And what a deposit agent does is they have agency agreements with upwards of maybe 40 institutions. Mm-hmm. So they can shop those rates for you on your behalf.
Right.
But that's
like
not
a mortgage broker.
Exactly. It's on the reverse side.
Okay.
It's on the deposit side. But the key benefit to the person using a deposit broker is that the deposit broker can access rates that are 1 to 1.5% higher than what you're going to get if you walk into your local branch.
Okay, we're going to go to your website right now actually to show you the most current rates that are available. So this is, in a lot of ways, those of us intimidated or afraid of doing things with our money, you do that process for us.
For them, exactly.
Hey, you've got golf on your page.
Gotta like that.
Good for you.
Okay.
You know, you make enough money, you can go golfing more.
That's the whole
Anyway,
idea of saving.
so there are the rates in that yellow box on the left.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, those rates are the best 1 to 5 year rates from our stable of about 40 different financial institutions that we use right across the country.
Okay.
And as I said, you'll find that those rates are about 1 to 1.5% higher than if you look at your local bank rate at one of the major banks or even credit unions, that type of thing.
Okay.
And we deal with some of those major institutions as well, and that's very significant for people to understand. We're just dealing at a different department of the bank.
Is there a minimum amount that can or should go into a GIC?
No, you can go as low as $500, $1,000. Some of those rates will have minimums of maybe $5,000, but that's pretty typical.
Okay, talk to me about the fees now that are involved if we go to you guys.
There are no fees, and that's the third component to using a deposit broker that people aren't aware of. There's absolutely no fees that we charge to get those higher rates. We're reimbursed by the financial institutions.
Right, okay, because you make the deal with them, they pay you for doing business with them.
Exactly. So you come to see me, you're going to get that best rate. You're not getting charged a fee at all.
So getting higher rates then is a matter of looking around and shopping what you've got.
Yes.
The decision though in the investment, this may seem like a dumb question, but it's not. The decision is up to the investor. It's not, you're not going to do it without telling me first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a point to make here is that the client makes the check payable to the institution that has that rate.
Not to you.
Not to us.
Okay.
And we facilitate the whole process. We handle the paperwork from start to finish. And again, we can take in a lot of deposit money. So the other point is that based on our volume, we can actually sometimes negotiate on behalf of the client, maybe even a slightly better rate.
So now it's the time when people are gradually getting into doing their income tax too, and people are saying to themselves, should I go RRSP? Should I pay down the mortgage? Should I, Talk to me about RRSPs for a second. difference between them and GICs, first of all?
Well, actually, not necessarily, because a GIC qualifies to be in your RSP. In fact, most people, when they buy their RSP, they're really buying a GIC. It's just stuck inside their RSP.
Okay.
Right? And they're buying a term or
Yep.
something like that.
Okay.
So that's still a GIC. It's just now sheltered in an RSP. And of course, if you make that contribution to your RSP, you're getting the appropriate tax deduction. So if you put $5,000 in, you get to deduct $5,000 on your income tax return.
Okay. Now, the limits differ every year, or they fluctuate a little bit.
Yeah, the current limits for the 2005 tax year are $16,500. That's the most you can put into your RSP, and they're going up gradually, I think, to $18,000 next year. Okay. But every person will have maybe a different limit based on their earned income and whether they're contributing to a pension or not. And there's a way to find out how
so we put the money into a GIC. Someone is using that money,
yes.
paying us for the privilege of using
That's
it.
correct, yeah.
Who is it? Who's using it? I mean, we make that choice too, do we not?
Well,
to a degree,
well, yes and no. I mean, you don't really know what the bank, if you walk into a bank to buy a GIC, you don't really know where they're putting the money.
Yeah.
But in general terms, what they're doing with your money is they're lending it out in mortgages or loans, and the bank makes money on that spread that they pay you versus what they're charging on the lending side. It's no different on our end. We're just getting you a higher rate on the deposit side.
Yeah. You know, dealing in money is an absolute. It's like math. It doesn't change. You can do the equation 40 different ways, you still get the same answer.
Exactly.
So going with somebody like you guys who deal with this stuff solely kind of makes a lot of sense, really, doesn't it? Because you know it better than anybody.
Well, I would think so. I would think so. And it's
no, but seriously, that's what you do.
That's what we do.
You're specialists.
Absolutely.
Okay. How do we reach you guys?
Well, you can look at our website, www.GICdirect.com. You can call us locally at 592-7707. If you're watching from Up Island, our toll-free number is 1-877-551-RATE, which is 7283.
Website's got golf on it. Think about that for a minute, too. Yeah. Okay, thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it. GICdirect this morning on the program. Don't be scared of your money. Let these guys help you out. Okay, coming up this morning...